How's that? Oh, there I am. Oh, good morning, everybody. We have fun every single Sunday here, don't we? We have so much fun and joy all the time. So I was so happy this happened to be my week to read because the topic for today is So Happy Together. Let's hear reflections on this topic. The first is by Dr. Ernest Holmes. I love this. The person who is always joyful will surround oneself with people who are happy, and life will be a continual enjoyment. Isn't that what we get to experience every Sunday here? Woohoo! And by visionary Jean Houston. At the height of laughter, the universe is flung into a kaleidoscope of new possibilities. And finally, from our own fun-loving, radiant Reverend Dr. Kathleen Johnson, a spiritual community that laughs and plays together stays together. Woo-hoo! Let's all affirm this playful affirmation. I am a divinely playful joy generator. Yay! This was my favorite reading ever.
You need to turn on your...
There it is. Hello. All right. Yes, I love the topic this month. I think it's so important particularly when times are heavy, but really any time, that we return ourselves to our natural innate state. And joy is that. And I was thinking about how I was seeing on TV how there was a man who was a dance instructor, he taught dance, who was working with the children in Ukraine, the children and the mothers. And they were dancing. They were having a great time dancing, a great way, and laughing, a great way to just let go of all the heaviness. Because how well can we serve when we are in a state of gloom all the time? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So that rejuvenation that takes place when we allow ourselves laughter and play is essential. It's not only feels good, but it's essential in order for us to be of highest service to the planet. And so here's the thing. Let's go back to the spiritual truth of it. Is that Spirit has created each one of us with an overflowing capacity for not only joy, but also balance and freedom. I'm putting balance and freedom in there too because they are an essential part of this thing that we call joy. And yet, what happens often? I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for you, but there's a tendency to get involved in the tasks of the day and just get really serious about it. Just get really serious and forget that joy is part of this journey. So my friend Steve Behrman puts it this way. He said, the world is in serious condition because we are conditioned to be serious. Seriously. So let's break the habit, the pattern of over-seriousness. Now, I understand there are times when that's required, but let's break the pattern of over-seriousness and be more playful. That's my invitation to you. It's my invitation to myself as well. So if you think about it, God is pretty playful. I mean, think about it. Think about, when young tigers, young children, when they come into the world, what happens? They play. They have this innate playfulness that is right there within them. It's inborn. It's innate. It's inherent. And then it's what happens later that, when we get really serious about life, that we lose that playfulness. Now, I know there are people in this room who have not lost their playfulness, and I want to acknowledge that. But there may be some of us who tend to get very serious at times and can not only bring ourselves down, but bring others down who are around us. And so keeping that spirit high is so essential, not only for ourselves, but those that we relate, those with whom we relate. So here's the cool thing about playfulness, is that when we play, I think about it. When I play, what happens? I feel more vital, I feel more cheerful, I feel more optimistic, and the thing is I'm letting go of the past, I'm letting go of the future, and I'm here now in the present moment. The present moment where we're truly the only place where we truly live, other than sometimes our minds go like all over the place. But it brings me into the present moment. So play and laughter then are sweet divine medicine. The medicine of joy itself, the divine quality of joy. Healing the body, the mind, and the heart. And doing things like, this is from the National Institute for Play. There is actually a National Institute for Play. They do research on play. What a great job. So anyway, it improves brain function, gives the immune system a boost, stimulates creativity, fosters empathy, and enhances relationships. There's so much more, but think about that. That is pretty cool. Play does that. So it's not only for kids, it's for adults too. They also say play keeps us young and energetic. And, when I was thinking about that, one of the things that I love to play with my grandsons, and they know that I do because they usually come to me and say, "Come on, Grandmom, let's play Tickle Monster." So Tickle Monster is, are you going to be showing me running? Oh my gosh. Yeah, Michelle was taking pictures of me running. I mean, we have kind of a big circle that we can run around in our house. And so we just tear down one side and tearing after the other, and they jump over the couches, and I try to I don't jump over the couch, but I try to run around and get them. But it's so great. It really gets my heart pumping. It gets, I get reacquainted with my playfulness and my childlike nature, and it's awesome. And then if I'm lucky, I get to tickle them. So Tickle Monster. In the Declaration of Principles, we're going to get really serious now for a minute. Ernest Holmes wrote, "We believe in the unity of all life, that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe in the direct revelation of truth." There's that word, truth. "Through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and anyone may be a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God." So what is truth? Joy is part of truth, isn't it? And so Ernest Holmes goes on to say, in Think Your Troubles Away, he says, "If we would know a God of joy, we must be joyful." So if you put all that together, those two things that I just shared, it just reminds us that we are one, we are of God, we are of that beautiful, joyful nature. And if we are meant to be revealers of joy, the joyful God, it is essential that we be joyful and happy together. So community play is what I am promoting today. And as you notice, I asked everybody to bring their joyful selves up to the pulpit today, which they are. And what have you noticed? And there's more to come. What have you noticed when people bring their joyful selves, their puns, their whatever, what does that do for you? Yeah, lightens your heart, for sure. So community play then is sacred. It's sacred. Why? Because it lifts us into the very awareness of our truth as divine beings, that joyful, playful spirit, that joyful sense of God presence. So what if our entire community, every single one of us here and online, what if every one of us adopted this idea of play as a spiritual practice, as something sacred that we enter into every day? Think about that. So today, the things that I want to share with you are the importance of accepting invitations to play, being your authentic, silly, joyful self, and the intention to create a community where playmaking is in the culture. And I think we have a really good start and foundation here because we've been doing playmaking for a while. But wow, today my intention was to bring even more playmaking into the community and for us to really see the value of it. Because there's a tendency, I know when we first started this community 11 years ago, and people would come and visit, and the response I would get back for why they didn't come back is because these people are just too happy. Oh, they're not serious enough. I am serious about that. So it's really a re-education, isn't it? Because many of us have been taught it's important to be really serious when you're in your spiritual home. And so we want to have a balance. That's the point, is we want to have a balance so that we bring our full, vibrant, divine selves with us wherever we go. So accepting the invitation to play, to me, that's the first step, is being willing to play when somebody offers an invitation to play. And so it brought to mind how Uni Lee at the spring equinox and full moon event said, and we were all gathered. We just had this beautiful ritual that was led by Candace. We were all gathered, and she said, everybody stand up and let's do the hokey pokey with a spiritual flavor. And how can we bring this kind of the spirit into it? And I Dean alluded to it last week. We had one person, Jenny, who put her smile in and her smile out. And I put my tongue in and my tongue out, and I'm not sure everybody got that one. But the spiritual point of that, I wanted to clear that up, is that you speak your word, right? Your tongue is part of speaking your word. It's very playful. Okay, so lightheartedness, lifting ourselves out of the heaviness of life, in these challenging times, is so essential. And to be willing to play means to be willing to be vulnerable, to take off the mask of what you think is appropriate, right? It's taking off that, oh, this is not appropriate mask. This is not acceptable kind of mask. And to let the inner child have its way. To romp around. So accepting invitations then is an essential step to the spiritual practice of play. When someone's willing to leave their comfort zone and invite you to play with them, what do you say? Yes, I know Jen is going to say yes immediately. Yeah, just say yes. So everybody, yes! Are you willing to play? Yes! All right. We will in just a moment. So Charles Schaefer once said, "We are never more fully alive, more completely ourselves, or more deeply engrossed in anything than when we are playing." So the more invitations to play that we accept, the easier it gets the next time, right? And the next time, and the next time. Pretty soon, we're the ones who are extending the invitation. I love that. I love that idea. So the next one is seeing or being your authentic, silly, joyful self. So once you accept the invitation to play, the next step is to loosen up, kind of let go. Take off the mask, loosen up, and say, okay, let's do it. And that means being your authentic, joyful, silly self. So let's give ourselves a big hug and embrace our authentic, joyful, silly self. Because get ready, we're going to be able to express it in a few minutes. So here's one of the ways that can be done. There's a group who created something called the 30-second dance button. Anybody ever hear that before? The 30-second dance button. Okay, so it's a way to develop a playful culture. And this is the idea. Someone presses the dance button, and everybody for 30 seconds dances to some very high energy dance music for just 30 seconds, which relieves the body of stress and often ends in raucous laughter. Plus, here's the other point about 30 seconds. It doesn't give you enough time to get self-conscious. That's one of the points to it. And so when people are able to dance together as well as play together, they can be real together. They can drop down all of the barriers that prevent us from truly loving and enjoying each other. The American dance movement has something called the National Day of Dance each year. This is new. I didn't know about this, but this is very cool. They create a simple, fun dance routine and encourage people all over the world to learn it and perform it together, whether on the stage or in the driveway. So I'm going to be looking that up to see if that's something maybe we could participate in. So that's being your authentic, silly, joyful self. And finally, the intention to have play be a part of our culture, and therefore creating a deeper sense of community. So play such as dancing together, it changes relationships, right? It helps us to get into a deeper sense of who we are, a deeper sense of community. So here's a beautiful example in the drug and alcohol treatment area. That in some of these treatment centers, they use something called adventure therapy. So it's a form of play therapy, actually, and a really vital part of recovery programs. Adventure therapy requires the individuals to enjoy nature and work with others to overcome challenges. The participants experience greater attention span, improved relaxation, decreased anxiety, reduced blood pressure, decreased risk of depression, and also what it means to live a sober life. These are the activities you can do, so much better when you're sober. So here's the thing, what can we learn from that? That when we are facing our adult challenges, whatever they might be in our lives, it's important to remember that play is not a waste of time. It is not a waste of time, just like giving yourself time to relax and time in the silence. It is not a waste of time. Our American culture has somehow given us the idea that the busier we are, the more valuable we are. And so it's time to break that pattern. It's time to break the pattern and to realize the importance of a healthy, balanced life that includes play. Play that is an essential part of our lives. An essential part. It's actually an investment. You can think of it as an investment in our overall well-being, mentally, well, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. So, can you see the benefit of not only bringing it into your personal lives, but bringing it into this beautiful spiritual community? So the more the merrier, the more who want to play, the merrier it gets. It just keeps getting better. And so what does that mean? That means that the movement away from the traditional way of play, which is competitive. And I think of things like Monopoly, where the competition is to knock people out of the game as quickly as possible until bankrupt people until there's one person left. And what does that do for morale? And so there's been this upwelling of collaborative, cooperative games in Germany, and they call them actually Euro games. Anybody hear that before? I'm learning all kinds of things, in researching for all of this lovely stuff about play. Euro games that are based on collaboration and cooperation, teamwork. Board games that are developed this way. How cool is that? So as we continue to be more interested in ways that we can play together, we can collaborate together, the more joyful and creative we become. And the more we build a kind, flexible, spiritual community that grows strong in the bonds of love for one another. So yes, I believe a spiritual community that plays and laughs together stays together. So this month, I have an invitation to all of you. The rest of this month, I'd like you to continue to investigate the ways in which you can bring more playfulness into your lives. And that means everyday tasks. Think of Mary Poppins, what she taught the children. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So as you're doing your daily tasks, dance, sing, play, whatever it is that floats your boat. Just see what happens if you can bring more joy into all of your activities. And then report back to me and let me know what happens. So I know I'm committed to bringing more joy and laughter into my life and into our spiritual community. So joy generators. Okay, so let's everybody stand up. Dan, you're on alert up there. Let's stand up and do the spiritual practice of play, okay? So I'd like everybody to stretch. And be ready. Oh, this whole, yeah, good. And Deb's involved. And Javita, are you involved? Javita, you can be involved. You can let go of the Facebook people for a while and stand up and join us. Dan, you too, up there. You can stand up and join us as well as soon as you push the button. Okay, so now, dance as wildly. Okay, dance as wildly as you can for 30 seconds. Everybody, go! Okay, Dan. What's your pleasure? All right, woo!
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
let's get really serious now. Namaste. I love you all. Mwah! And Deb is up next. All right.
Oh my gosh, I can hardly catch my